I will be honest, I really don't super believe in resolutions. Hey, I'm Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome for the first time. All around welcome. I'm Carrieblogger, a career freelancer on Fiverr.com where I have sold exclusively for 7 years now. I am currently wearing this obnoxious sweater because it's Christmas Eve today. This video is not going out until after New Year's for the next Freelance Friday around that time. So I wanted to kind of plan ahead for my New Year's resolutions and share some of those with you. Not only things that are specific to my business, but what I think is kind of important to talk about in the midst of this like hustle culture thing that has been happening for quite a long time and is definitely increasing in popularity. Some thoughts on that. All right, so before I dive into the actual resolutions, there's one thing I love to do at the end of every year, which is just kind of to clean my slate. This kind of popped into my head again, especially because my MacBook, which is completely where all of my work life is based, is on my computer, obviously. It had a couple little annoying quirks. I took it to the Apple store and they sent it off to repair. And apparently what I thought was just like a little keyboard issue basically turned into them replacing my entire computer. So I just got it back. It was completely new. And of course I didn't back it up like you're supposed to. So there's really no easy way to just like recreate my computer from the time machine backup, which is my own fault. I had all my files saved, but I made my life harder. So as I was considering the gigantic task of like completely setting up my computer again to have everything the way I like it, I realized it was kind of a blessing, because if I had literally just transferred everything exactly copied over the way it was, I was going to be left with all of these files that like I don't need anymore, I don't care about. There's just like an endless archive of stuff that's taking up space on my hard drive that I literally just needed to get rid of. And until I had this clean slate, I wasn't prepared to do that. But now that I do, I'm like, I'm not gonna go digging through my cloud server just to bring these files back because they're not relevant to me anymore. And so that was kind of a really nice forced fresh start for me. And that also translates into, I just have like a running list of things that are kind of on my to-do list. They're not enough on my list that they're in my bullet journal where I'm, you know, planning them out, scheduling, expecting to make myself do them. Like, well, if I have time, I would really like to do all of these things. If I'm really inspired, you know, these are kind of my next steps for going forward. And they've been on that list for a heck of a long time. There are some things on this list that have been here since last year. Before I even get to any new habits and new things that I want to do for this year, I encourage you, like I'm going to do myself, clear it out. Take a look at that list of things that's just been on your mind, taking up brain waves, and think what is actually like relevant to me right now, and what do I really need to do in the next year to keep myself like moving forward and making positive gains. Because a lot of the things that are on there and weighing me down and making me feel a little guilty about like not getting them done, I don't actually need to do them, and I don't think I actually want to. So that's the first step, is to clear things out. Give yourself a fresh start so that you aren't kind of piling on top of things that are like kind of baggage for you. Or that's the way I see it. All right, so these healthy habits, I will be honest, I really don't super believe in resolutions. I'm not the kind of person who, you know, doesn't make a change in October just because I know that I'm gonna roll around to January. If I have an idea and something I wanna do, it just happens, regardless of what time of year it is. So just the fact that it's New Year's, I usually don't even make resolutions for myself, but I thought it would be kind of a fun video idea. And, you know, if I can force myself to make some of these changes faster and not just like wait around for them to naturally happen, then that's probably good for me too. The first thing that I'd really like to do, which I think will show a lot of positive gains in my work life especially, is to start meditating in the mornings. I did a video, it was one of my first ones, it was really fun to film, that was like a day in my life as a freelancer. I think I'm gonna do another one pretty soon because no day is ever alike, so even that day doesn't match most of my days. And as I mentioned in that video, I always start my day immediately by answering messages. I wake up, I turn off my alarm. I wake up immediately. I'm not the kind of person who needs to hit snooze. I'm just like ready to go. And so the moment that I turn off my alarm, I instantly open my Fiverr app and start answering messages. And that is literally the first thing I do every single morning. And I don't think that it's necessarily very healthy. I think it's productive and I think it gets me kind of going, but it makes kind of like, I start my day with stress. And I don't think that that's a very healthy thing to do. So instead, I think I'm going to look for a meditation system that's short. I don't want to like waste time. I know that's the wrong idea going into this, but I don't want to waste time in the mornings. I just want to make sure that I'm, you know, uplifting, being focused, being thoughtful, and kind of setting myself up for success, so that if I do read a stressful message that I'm waking up to, that I'm kind of in the right mindset to approach that positively. So if you have any suggestions for kind of meditation, mindfulness programs or systems or whatever that you'd recommend, please comment them down below. I've tried Headspace before. I think that's what it's called. It's like the really popular one. I didn't really like it, and I can't even describe what I didn't like. I think I need to go on some soul searching to see if I can find a program that kind of fits with the things I want to meditate on, or heck, I'm just gonna teach myself how to meditate. Maybe I'll just DIY it, I'm not sure. The second thing that I'm already doing a little bit, but I need to be more conscious of, is just practicing gratitude. And that's kind of like a buzzword in like the space of like life coaches and wellness and whatever, is like gratitude. For me, I have used gratitude, especially this past 2 months, which have been so busy with work, and I just literally needed to calm down, take a moment, and just be so grateful, especially when I'm overwhelmed by something that's kind of negative, to not let that dominate my emotions, but to always focus on, you know, I love my family. I'm so grateful for them. I'm so grateful for owning a house. I'm grateful for having the career that I have. I'm grateful for my pets. I'm grateful for the things in my life. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my hobbies. I'm grateful for flexibility to be able to pursue things. I'm grateful for so much in my life. And so I think I need to make that a little bit more of my daily routine. So if I'm gonna start my day with a short meditation and to kind of focus and frame myself, I would like to end my day with some thoughtful gratitude. Even when I am stressed, I am so grateful for the things in my life that have built up the opportunity to be stressed. Does that make sense? I feel like that makes sense to me. I need to be grateful for everything else in my life that is going so well, that I have the privilege of having too much work to do as a freelancer. Like what? I know that especially in the hustle culture, which I am not a hustler. I don't condone hustling. I wouldn't even call this like a side hustle when I was in college, because hustling is like unhealthy in my opinion. And for a lot of reasons, and you can dig into a lot of internet things about that. The hustle culture, it's like you should be grateful in your busyness and in your stress, and that's where you should just like live and thrive in that discomfort, because the discomfort is what's going to like push you forward. And for me, I want to be grateful for the things that allow me to be busy, not grateful that I am busy. That's a distinction for me. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Hopefully that resonates with you, especially if you feel like you are kind of like hustling and grinding, and how do you not get burnt out with it? And I definitely think that for me personally, being grateful about everything surrounding that is where is more of my positive space. And I think that's a good place to be. Like everyone else on the planet, my next resolution is to exercise more. I have been on a really great journey, I think. I'm very proud of myself over the past 2 or 3 years, maybe 3 years now, of, you know, running consistently, making really amazing progress with that. I've never been this fit in my entire life. I'm definitely not like anything special. I feel like I'm an average person, but that has just been like proving to myself that my body is strong, or much stronger than I ever thought it could be. I signed myself up for some very exciting races, and races are my best way as a runner that I can really force myself in a long-term journey, because obviously signing up for a race does not mean that I just do one thing, but that means that I'm actively training and setting myself up for success for a long period of time. And the big reveal is I signed myself up for a full marathon in June, which I'm so excited about. Make that something that has a cascading effect backwards that's forcing you to stay on track, to feel like you are accountable to meet the end goal, which does not start today. I mean, it does, but today being New Year's in the future, because YouTube is in the future. It's not to just focus on today, but it's to focus on at least several months later, and that is the real journey for you to create a healthy habit that is going to last for a longer amount of time than just being one of those people who says you're going to lose weight or exercise more, and then by 2 weeks into January, you've given up. I also would like to read more. I've also been on a really good kick. I have been reading a lot more. I read 50 books this year. I tracked it with Goodreads, and I had gone years without reading at all. I don't love self-help books or that kind of thing. So if your goal as the hustler in your life is to kind of focus on that, then reading those kinds of books that challenge you and inspire you is probably a really great idea. For me, I just want to be more aware of how I'm spending my passive time. And I personally think that passive time is so healthy. Like literally laying on the couch, watching Netflix, just letting your brain turn off. I think that that's healthy. And especially in the hustler culture, there's this huge focus on just constantly being productive and making sure that every minute of your time is working towards something specific. And so I don't think that that's true. I think that you should focus the time that you are working to be very productive and very focused. But in order to make the most of your time on, you need time off. I have always gone to Netflix. I love watching TV. I can binge a solid TV series. That's my thing. And so when I am listening to an audiobook, I feel like I can go take my dog for a walk. I can weed my backyard. I can do like dishes. I can just wander. I can do other things that I'm not trapped onto the couch. So my time off is still a little bit more active and engaged without actually having to be working. So it's kind of a middle ground for me where I felt like Netflix was just, I'm a couch potato slug. And now that I'm listening to audiobooks, it's like I'm not on the clock and I'm not expecting anything special out of myself, but I, will be wandering around the house and just doing things and at least keeping my brain a little bit more active. This next one is a little bit less rigid. It's not doing something specific, but it's kind of just being more aware of my mindset in the decisions that I'm making about my business this year. I really want to focus on doing what I love. I think that especially this past year, I have fallen a little bit into wanting to keep growing very aggressively and at the cost of kind of my own happiness or fulfillment in what I'm doing. So I have a success manager through Fiverr who's assigned to me and other pro and top rated sellers who are at the top of the marketplace. And their job is to kind of help facilitate for us how to be even more successful on the platform. I'm explicitly being told when there are new categories and places to sell available so that if I'm interested in that, I kind of have like a first dibs access to that. And it also helps to build those categories for Fiverr. So it's a pretty mutually beneficial situation. One of those things is they've told me a lot about different categories this past year as they are pretty aggressively expanding into new areas, which is so exciting about the platform. And some of those I have tried because I want to grow and I want to keep, offering new things and building up my business, which I've created some other videos about. But I think that some of them I have decided to take on and try more because I'm focused on growing and not because I'm actually interested in doing those things. As I continue to learn how I want to grow my business, to maintain momentum, I'm pretty sure I still grew 10% over last year. I had been doubling my income and doubling growth every single year, and now it's definitely reaching the top of my hill. But as I continue to grow this year, I really want to focus on being really fulfilling, something I'm passionate about always, and just making sure that it's a right fit for me and it's not just a right fit for business in general. And as someone who's hustling and trying to make the most out of all of your efforts to grow or build something new on the side or as a full-time job, keep in mind that whatever you build, you're gonna want to be engaging and meaningful for you. So if you're looking to escape a 9-to-5 job and you're trying to build something else on the side, but what you build you don't end up liking, then what was the point of escaping the 9-to-5 job you didn't like in the first place? So it's kind of a balancing act of kind of playing the puzzle to figure out how to grow and maximize your efforts, but also that what you build should be meaningful and right for you at the end of the long, puzzling journey. So that's something I'm struggling with right now just a little bit, and I want to be really mindful about that in this next year. And last but not least, hopefully not least, I don't know if you're even still watching, I appreciate you. I want to just stay really consistent. This is similar to the last one. That's not a thing. It's like a mindset for me. And so my resolution is to stay consistent with the things that I have decided to do and to not give up on them. And I'm not really a give up kind of person, but especially with YouTube, which is this like new journey for me, it's gonna take a long time to pay off, if it ever does, but I just am so passionate about it and I really enjoy it. And those things I need to not give up on, and I need to not let the financially whatever, the things that are actually bringing me income, I don't want that money to overtake something I'm finding joy in. And that's a hard place to be. Again, with the hustle culture, we kind of always prioritize money and growth and income streams and how can you maximize your efforts. And I think that joy and passion, if you have the privilege of spending your time and energy on those things, will give a lot more back to you. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this was interesting for you and helpful. If you have any other things you'd like me to talk about in a future Freelance Friday video, please be sure to comment below. I love to answer questions. Please be sure to like and subscribe this video if you liked it. It means the world to me, and let's get back to work.